This is inconvenient way to fix brakes. Especially if the scooter is very heavy, like 100 pounds, it's gonna be inconvenient. You have to put it upside down and bleed the brakes. Reason why you have to put it upside down, because these are not the optional brakes. Some more expensive scooters have better brake system, the newer different brand and model, and they have where they have a screw opening at the top, on the top of the brake levers. Like here they have a screw here where you can open and you can bleed through there, and you don't need to set the scooter upside down, just leave it like that. So that makes it much easier to bleed. But these, you gotta set it upside down, much harder work. I don't know what this brake type is called. It's the universal, the basic type. DY, I don't know what it's, I don't know how to read it. DYISLAND. It's a basic Chinese generic brand hydraulic brake system, where it's used on, it's the base model. It's the generic stuff. It's not, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it's that great. But it's hydraulic brakes, so it's still pretty good compared to mechanical brakes, I guess. They got better brake systems that you can upgrade. Magura brakes are supposed to be very nice. Those brakes are found in Rayon scooters. Some Duotron scooter owners use that. They upgrade to Magura brakes. I think they're expensive. I don't know how much. But this is the tutorial for the basic brake system. Alright. Here you go, guys. I have a brake bleed kit for hydraulic disc brakes for scooter, electric scooter. This works. This is for the mineral oil, the scooter that requires mineral oil. I'm going to be bleeding the brakes today, and I'm gonna make a tutorial to help others out. These are the stuff: adapters, syringe. They got different sizes, threads, thread types, adapters, tubing clamps, and this is the scooter, my electric scooter that I will be working on to bleed the brakes, because I lost brake pressure all the way, front and back. I have to press the brake all the way, squeeze them in all the way to barely stop. There's a large gap, space between the disc and the brake pads. I've already tried adjusting them, in the past, to bring the pads closer together to the disc, but it keeps losing pressure over time in a matter of a day. So now I ended up having almost no brakes. So I'll be using this bleeding kit, hoping that this will fix it. And God told me that it will fix. So I trust in Him. Okay, I have assembled a syringe, unit with the adapters. I followed the instruction 1, 2, 3, 4 as shown in the instruction, and here I got it assembled. This is the inlet for the mineral oil on the caliper. As you can see, something doesn't seem right. The hole there, you would think that there should be some level of pressure, and that when the moment you remove the screw, the oil would come out, you know, or you know, get splattered. But there seems to be no pressure. Seems like there is not enough oil inside, because I hardly got any oil drip on the floor. So it seems like not enough oil. So I'm going to put more oil and bleed both front and back. Remove the seat so that I can place my scooter upside down, because these brakes, these universal, the basic type of hydraulic brakes, it will require a scooter to be placed upside down so that you can bleed the brakes off here right onto the caliper. So the caliper needs to face up. It needs to be at higher elevation, and the brakes, the brake line where the brake lever is, needs to be at the lowest point, because the air will tend to go up. So that's what we need to do. Okay, the scooter is upside down. I set it on a chair like that. I folded the handlebar so that the speedometer display and stuff won't get damaged. I used rubber band to keep them in place like that. Height is just right, and I'm going to bleed through here, through this hole there. And same thing with the front wheel, front disc brake here. I screwed it in to the hole here, and I'm squeezing in. There's a lot of pressure. Found out that you gotta press the brake lever on the handlebar of the scooter, and you can see the air bubbles popping out. I guess you just keep pressing in until the air gets out. Looks like there's a lot of air. You can see the bubble. Right now I'm keep squeezing in and out the brake lever for the rear. Yeah, you can feel the pressure. The air is trying to, as the air comes out of the system, it's trying to push up inside the syringe. You can feel more pressure building up. Yeah, there's definitely a whole lot of air inside in the brake line. This is my first time doing it, and I'm recording video to show you guys tutorial on how to do this. I'm hoping that this will work. There's a lot of air. Okay, look here. I did some bleeding on here on this brake caliper, and by squeezing in the brake lever on the handlebar, I did it about 20-30 times, let bunch of air out, and it appears that, I don't know if you can see it, here's the disc, right? And the brake pads are, I don't know if you can see, but the brake pads are right here and here, and they are closing in. They're already touching it now. They're touching my disc. You can hear that squeak. There was a whole lot of space in between before, because it lost all the brake pressure, and there was a whole bunch of gap here and here. Now that brake pads are touching the disc, so that's a good sign. I got more bleeding to do for here and there. Want to show you guys mine. If you already have there's adjustment here on the handlebar lever, right inside the lever there's a little hole there. You use your Allen wrench, a very skinny one. This is the adjustment to bring the pads to get closer to the disc or farther away from the disc. You turn clockwise to bring the pads closer to the disc. You turn counterclockwise to loosen, to increase the space between the brake pad and the disc. I have already, in the past, I have been adjusting it. I have been tightening it quite a few times clockwise to bring the pads closer. So I'm at that stage. That's why I think the brake pads are already touching the disc. It's getting too tight. So what I need to do is loosen it here a little bit, because I've been tightening it so many times. So I need to loosen it here counterclockwise, so that I can have free up more room there. And I'm gonna do more bleeding on it to let more air out, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. Hope that makes sense. And there's this screw here for the rear brake and the front brake on the other lever over there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there. All right. Okay, here is the front brake, the disc, and the brake pads. This is before bleeding the oil, and you can see the space. There's a large gap between the disc and the brake pad on the inner side and outer side. It's hard to see, but it's there. You can tell. Inner side is easier to see. You can see there's a large gap. I'm going to bleed this now and see how it works out. Here I'm squeezing in brake lever. I'm pumping the brake and you can see the air. There's a bunch of bubbles coming out of the nozzle. Something I learned, Jesus told me specifically that when you put oil in here, in this syringe, before you put this in, make sure that you give yourself enough empty space between this rubber and the oil. Make sure that you have enough space here, because if you make it too tight and then you tie it into this hole here, inlet, there's no room for air to come out, and there's no room for it to work properly. It needs to have empty space so that it will allow you to get the bubbles out, because if you make it too tight, you're not going to be able to get the bubbles out. I just found that out. See, now it's already better now. You see that the bubbles are almost gone. Now you only see that pumping action. When you pump the brake, you see that water just coming like that. You don't see the bubbles. This is good because now the brake pads are tight. I don't know if you can see it. There's no gap now, it's tight. It definitely improved, big time. So I'm gonna continue, finish up with the bleeding, make sure that all the bubbles get out, and then I'm gonna test it, see how my brakes perform. Okay, the brake bleed is complete, front and back. You will need to adjust the screw for both front and back brakes. This one here, this is the back brake. If the brake pressure is still loose, if there's too much play, adjust it, turn it clockwise to tighten it. That will bring, you can fine tune the spacing, the gap between the brake pads and the disc closer together by turning it clockwise. Tune it until that it feels good with the braking, so that you feel that it's tighter, and do the same for the front. You just need to adjust the screw to adjust the brake pressure. That's about it. Hopefully that will fix